interface lab, right? So I'm going to take the interface lab. So this is our sixth lab. So the interface lab, inside the interface lab, the outcome of today's lab is to learn constructor calling hierarchy in multi-level inheritance. So actually not constructor calling hierarchy. We're gonna learn that interface, implementation of interface. To learn interface and implementation of interface. To apply, extends, and implements keyword in programs to use interface and inheritance. To learn interface and nested interface. Okay. So this is basically our inheritance and interface. So now the first lab we have, first task. Also we have starting from the task 1, but we are going to start from task 2 basically. Okay. Task 2, task 3, and task 4. Let's go to task 2 and see how it's worked. So let's go for that one. Okay. Task 2. So first I need JCreator. So file open from our lab materials, which is in a D drive, and I have here, and I have in them, I have a.java. These are the programs that we have to open and learn that how to implement the interface. So actually in this program we have one interface. So let's write it. That's the keyword for implementing interface. As like class is a keyword to implement class, so that way interface is a keyword, which you need to use for implementing interface. So the interface name is Printable. So this is my interface. Inside the interface, I can hold abstract classes, and you do not need to write abstract. Okay, so void print. So this is my interface. Okay, so automatically this one is public. You do not need to worry about these things. Okay, so I have defined an interface. Now a class we can create an inheritance between interface and a class. How we can create? A class can implement. Let's see, I'm closing this to you. Okay, a class A, which is our class, okay, which is our main class, well, I mean driver class, which is gonna implements. So implements is the keyword. Implements printable. So he's gonna implement this one. So implements mean we are creating inheritance relationship between our interface and this class. So class A implements printable. So that's mean that class A will create an inherit relationship with interface. Okay. So this is our driver class. So obviously this class must have this method as well. Define this method. So this class is defining the method. So the body of the method should be defined in here. Because this class implementing interface. That means we are creating inheritance between class and interface. So implements is the keyword is using. Okay. Now void public print system.out.println hello. So this one is the body has been defined. So we import this one and we are defining the body in here. So we are basically inheriting print, overriding this one, and we are writing the body by overriding this one. Fine. Now in this class, we also have a main function. As this one is a driver class, we have the main function. Now, as this one is our main function, in main function, I want to call print. I want to call print, but I can't call print. So if I will call print, so there is an error. Why the error? Because print is a static method and main is a static method, and print is an unstatic method. From static method to call unstatic method directly, we cannot call this one. We have to create an object of the class, then we have to create, call the print. So that's what we are doing. A object equal new A, and then object dot print. So that's mean that we are creating the printing functions, right? So we are calling the print functions. Now, this print function has implemented in here, and now basically the object dot print, that's mean that we are calling this method basically. Okay, so we are calling this method, so hello will be printed. So when you see this one, when you compile and we're gonna run this one, we'll see that hello will be printed in here. Hello. Okay, fine. Now this is our first program. Okay, now you can see that start. Okay, let me go to the second and third one, then I'll go for abstract class. Okay, so now I'm going to the second one. File, open. Second one is our B. Same way, we have defined a printable interface, like a printable interface, and a interface with printable. The name is printable, and the void print. So the abstract method, we have void print in the interface. Now we have two interfaces. One is called printable, and another one is called showable, which is void show methods. So showable and print. So both two abstract methods are consist inside the two interface. Now I can implement not only one interface, I can implement multiple interfaces as well. So I can inherit from multiple interfaces, no problem. Multiple class you cannot inherit, but multiple interface you can implement. So I am implementing printable and showable. You see,
Sir, with one class, multiple we can multiple interface we can apply.
right, right, no problem. I told you that there is no problem in there, right? If you have
Yes,
multiple
sir.
interface, then there is no problem in there, right? You understand?
Yes, sir.
So we have two interface and two method we can implement two methods. So one class can implement multiple interface at a time for multiple interface, but one class cannot extend multiple classes. Is it clear? Now, when you run this one, then also it is okay. The problem here. Yeah. Uh, oh, oh, I have changes here. I have made changes. Okay. So I have made changes here. So let's complete this one. So I completed this one, and here also public static void main. I forgot. I changed this one when I used the last class. Okay, so that's it. So it's okay. It will run now. So now you see these two are non-static method. I cannot run from here. So I must have, you see, void print. So I have to implement these ones on top of this method because those are method extra different methods the same way as the previous class. Okay. And this one is public. So I have to make the object of this class to implement this one. So v1 equal new b, and then I will have v1 dot print and v1 dot show. Yes, problem. You can use NetBeans by you, no problem. For your aspects, no problem, because I'm just following the uh, because I want the list. I mean, I want to use the light editor. Okay, so that's why I choose the JCreator. But the problem will occur when you go for implementations with JavaFX and also for JavaFX and also for database. That times you will have problem because I will use JCreator. You understand? If connectivity is okay, no problem. If you can maintain connectivity, is okay. So that way, basically, we can implement. So these class can be implement more than one interfaces. So, and we can implement this one inside the class, the child class, and then we can use the object we can create, because inside the main we have to create objects to call these methods. Now we have the third programs, which is basically C.Java, which I am opening. And here you can see either we can implement multiple interfaces like this way, we can call by implements printable and showable, or multi-hierarchical, multi-level inheritance also we can create. So here you see printable and showable extends printable method, showable extends printable interface. So that's mean that these two has client and child, parents and child relationship. And then the class C implements showable. That's mean basically class C also inheriting this one, and also is able to inherit the print one as well. So both are nearly similar way. So I can inherit both, right? So that is possible I have, because class C implements showable. So showable extends printable. So showable inherit print, and that print also I can inherit. Okay, but the point is that when you are implementing the class, so class must have to define the two, because this showable class already extended printable, so print is already inside him. So when print and showable in here, when you are implementing showable, so that's mean that print and show both are inside you. Both need to be implemented inside you. Okay, that's why we are implementing, and we create the objects and we call it this one. Okay, so this is another way of multiple interfacing. Okay, now the question can come that, so here how they are interrelated. So we can create the UML diagram for this program. UML diagram like printable and printable A implements printable interface. How we can show this? You see, when we have printable, so printable, this one is a printable. Let's see, we have interface. This one is an interface. So this one is an interface. And we have printable. And we have this one, right? So now printable we have. So when you have printable, so that's mean that this one is an interface. All the rest of the things are same. Like here we have print is void type, right? So that's basically printable. Now when you have class A implements printable, so that can be implemented by this way. Like this is my class. So class A is the name of this class, and where we have print method, so public class print. So we have the print method, and inside this one this one is a void type, return type is void. That way we can write. And also we have the main method, so class main, and the return type is void. But this one is static, so we have an underscore. So that's why that way basically the function we can define, and we have this class. Now how to define that? We are creating the instance of the same class. So we can define in this way, instance of the same class in this way. That is basically called instance. And we can define the printable implements printable. So implements This one is an interface. So we're gonna, as this one is an interface, so we implement. So implementation symbol is this one. So this is our UML diagram for this class, right? For this program. Okay. Now, the question can come in here that, sir, if I somehow I miss to implement this one, what will happen? Build, compile, error. What is the error? A is not abstract and does not override abstract method printable. That means you have implemented printable, but you do not override that one. You do not override that one. So as this class must also have an abstract method which is print. You didn't override. You didn't write the body. So the abstract method is already consist inside my class. So that class must be an abstract class. So a keyword need to place before the class which is abstract. So now my class has been abstract. Okay. Also here is a problem. What is the problem? See here. Abstract class cannot be instantiated. So you cannot instantiate it here. You cannot instantiate it here. You understand? So that's basically, this is the abstract class where we don't have print. Okay. Let's go to the second problems because two functions we have. Let's go for this one rather than this one. Okay. Let's go for the second problems. Okay, let's go for the second problem. Not this one. Let's go to the second one. It will be very interesting for you. Now see, I have implemented two interface. So one I have implement and another one I forgot to implement. If I forgot to implement, then it will say that this class must need to be abstract. Why? Because you have two, you have implemented two interface. So one of them, the abstract method you didn't implement. So that's why it will call abstract class. It should be abstract class. So abstract keyword should be placed on top of your class. Fine, we have placed. Now what is the problem here? When you run this one, then it's showing that B is abstract. It cannot be instantiated. You see in the main function, we created the object of the B. That is not possible. We cannot create instantiation. We cannot create object in abstract class. Fine. Now the question is, you see, I have the abstract class. So I have the print function as well as I also have the show. I didn't implement the show, but I also have the show. Show is an abstract method. Now my question is, as I am abstract class, who is going to implement this one? Who is going to implement this one? Who is going to call show, implement show? Someone should have to do. So you see, abstract class, whatever the contents of the abstract class can be accessed only by creating its child. By creating its child and child objects, we can create through that reference variable, we can access the parents methods or functions. Let's see methods. Let's see this one. How we can access print? Okay, now we have to access the print. We cannot create the object of the class. So what we can do? We can create a child class. Okay, let's see. For this one, we are going to, this one is not B. Let's see, this one is B new. B new. So we are creating now objects in here. Public class B. And B will extend B new. So we are extending and an abstract class with a class named B. So B is the child and abstract class B new is the parent. Now when you have done this one, then inside this one, let's see the file name are the same. So this one is the driver class, will have a main. Still, if you define this one, there is an error. Why? Still the show is not implemented. So this one is still the show is not implemented. So this one is also abstract. So we have to implement show here. So let's implement the show in here, this place. So I have implemented the show in here. Now see, I have print is in here, and abstract method show is also here basically. Then I extended this one, and I also implemented show here. Now already fulfilled. Now whatever the methods, abstract method we had in the interfaces, those has been implemented. One has been implemented in the abstract class, and another one has been implemented by his child. Now to access print, you see, we want to access print or show both. So to access print or show, we have to create the object of this class because of if this one is a static, let's see this one is static, so that times we do not need to create the objects. But as from the static method, void main is a static method, and we are calling these methods, right? So obviously we have to create the objects. So that's why we create the objects. Now, child object, through the child object reference variable b1 dot print, we are calling b1 dot print. Basically, we are calling this print. Otherwise, you cannot call this print any other way. There is no other way. You cannot create the object of this class, b new, b1, and then call no. So only the way to access the methods of the new class, abstract class, by creating his child, and through the child variable, child reference variable, we can call them. So I'm calling print, as well as I'm calling show as well. So that's the only way we can use, because the abstract class or interfaces cannot be instantiated. You cannot create the objects of these two things, right? So that's a very important point. It's a very important point. Any question? So after please clear your idea, otherwise you will not understand. You have missed C++. If you have done C#, you have missed C#. And if you miss Java, then where from you will learn the interface and abstract class? Like the Viva question, I always found that students are not able to answer the difference between interface, abstract class, and class. Do you understand? So that's why the concept you should have to clear your concept on the abstract, on the interface and abstract method, right? So let me know if you don't understand. Yeah, if you can implement show here, then we can create, then it is not an abstract, it do not need to be an abstract class. So that times you can create the object. But if there is an abstract in here, if you create like this way, okay, if you put in this one, and still the abstract symbol can be there, no problem. So you cannot instantiate still. But if you remove the abstract symbol, then it's okay. Then you can create instance of this class. But if you put the abstract symbol in there, then you cannot instantiate. Okay. So you have to be careful about this. Okay. Now we have understand that we understand that what is interface, how we can implement interface, how class can implement interface, how interface and can inherit from interface, and how we can create an object of the class, how the abstract class will behave, and how we can connect the abstract class with the child class and call the methods. Like that's the things we learned so far. Okay. Now we are going to learn about Now we're gonna go for task one. The task one is telling that developing a payroll system for employee. We have to develop a payroll system. Last class we have seen this one, right? So we have implemented two. These two method I will call today. These two class. One is the employee class, another one is the salaried employee. You remember, right? How we have implemented these two? So let's see these two. Okay. So let's go for this one. File, open. Let's take this one from desktop, lab one. Employee. Employee.java. So this was we have implemented last class, right? So now I'm going to use again. Okay, so we have a class employee, and where we have some instance variable where first name, last name, and social security number. We have a final variable called amount, which can hold the salary of the employee. And then we have a constructor which will initialize the instance variables. And then we have two methods. One is called earning amount, and another one is called two strings, which will given us all the information of the employee. So this is my class. I have defined that, and I also have another class which is salaried employee. Salaried employee class, which will extend the employee because they have child and parent relationship. So then employee class has been extended by the child salaried employee class. So salaried employee class has week salary, and other instance variables, other necessary information for salaried employee will be initialized by the super method by calling the constructor of the employee. And then we also define the weekly salary from the objects, and then from the object creations, and then we can assign the weekly salary. The earning amount will be 4 into weekly salary plus earning amount of the employee. So earning amount of the employee is this function we are calling super.earning amount. So employee's amount. So amount has been inherited from the super class. Okay, then two strings method, we have our own earnings. So we are adding this one. So whatever earning we have, so that will come in here and we'll print those things. So that way, basically, we can use the salaried employee class as well. And we also have another class which is called payroll testing, payroll system test. So this class is basically creating an object of salaried employee, and he's printing the string. Okay, so printing the information of the salaried employee. So let's go for that one. You can see we can print the information of the salaried employee. Okay, so now the concern is that the people are asking that rather than employee class, define an employee class is a class, rather than a class, define it an instance, a interface. Define employee class as an interface. This is not a class. It should be an interface. Now change your program as an interface. You understand the problem? We had a class before. Now we want this one. So task 5 is telling that you have to change. You have to change the payroll system of one employee. So you have to change this one to interface rather than a class. Now what we need to change? First of all, it is not a class. It should be an interface. How can we make interface? So interface employee. Right? So this is my interface. কি ঘটনা আজকে এত তাড়াতাড়ি আমার টাইম চলে গেল কেন? মানে টাইম এখনো 1 ঘন্টা আছে, এখনো 1 ঘন্টা। হ্যাঁ, আমার 1 ঘন্টা মাত্র সময় গেল, তার মধ্যেও 10 মিনিট লেটে আসার পরও কেমন কথা বলেন? Okay, this is the last program we have. Okay, so don't worry. Now let's go for this one, interface employee. how to change the class to an employee, class to an interface. So interface employee, right? Now, interface cannot have this one. Variable cannot be assigned to the interface, right? Because we cannot assign the value for the interface, right? We cannot assign the value for this interface. So we cannot put these variables are in interface. What we can put, the final one we can put, because the value variables of this one is final, but the value we can declare in here. Let's see, 60,000. 60,000. We can declare the value in here and we can place this one. So that's we can do. But other thing we cannot do, right? So we cannot have the variable and declare here. The variable will be constant that time. But our employee can be, there are many employee, salary employee, hourly employee. So their name can be different names. So we cannot make them static, but their base salary can be the same. That's we can took. So that's why the base salary we took like 60,000 is the base salary. Okay. Okay, fine. We cannot create the constructor here. So we cannot initialize the variable's value. So we cannot create the constructor here because interface doesn't have any constructor. Then we cannot define the body of the function in here, but we can have the function header. So we took to header in here. Fine. To function header, we took in here. So we cannot have the body. Okay. So I'm removing this body. This one is also same because we will have the abstract method. The abstract method, we should not have any body in here. So I'm removing this one as well. This is my abstract. Now this is my interface now. Okay. Now, what are the things we need to shift it to the class salaried employee? You see here, public static void is not, we cannot define here. So we have to take this away. We have to take this away here. So we will not have only week salary. We can also have the variables value here because we have interface. We cannot, the variable one, we cannot put it in there. Okay, so it should be constant. And if the salary, if the name are the constant, then everyone's name will be constant. No, everyone's salary has been constant. I have given now. This one is the basic salary I have taken. So everyone basic salary is same. That's 15,000. That's 15,000 is the same. Now, when you have salaried employee, we have inside like super, we cannot call now. We cannot call super now. What we can do, we can do the same initialization here. Same initialization in this part. So we can copy those, and we can take, and we can copy in here. That's done. And other things you can see that the earning, this earning doesn't impact in my child. It's just returning the amount. So here I can get the super dot earning amount. I cannot get. So I have to implement here. So I can call like amount. So what is the amount? I can call this one because I am going to implement this one. So amount, normal amount I can call. So rather than super, I can call amount. Amount. And where from the amount will come? Because I have to implement the, now I can't extend because this one is now an interface. So I have to implement. I have to implement employee. You understand? So now employee is an interface. I have implemented. So I share the amount from here, from the employee. Okay. So that's, and the body has been defined by me. So now when I call this dot earning amount, so I will have a weekly salary, let's say 20,000 per week. So this one is extra than amount. So amount is the base, and then weekly salary I will have 20,000. So 40 into 20,000, 80,000, and then plus amount is 50,000, something like that, right? So let's take the amount is more, a little bit more. Let's say 80,000. So now it is okay. Now we have converted the interface and we have created that one. But remember, we cannot create the object of the employee now because employee is now an interface. We cannot create the object of this one. We cannot create instantiation of this one. So we cannot create an object of this one. But now is it okay to run? Let's see. So first we're gonna run this one and create the interface class. And then for this one also we are going to create the class. And now this one we're gonna run this one. So it's okay, everything. Yeah, the same thing, same way we got the output now. Okay, so that's basically happening here. Okay, so 10,000 into 40,000 plus this one should be avoided. So I should not have this one. Oh, amount I have taken. So amount is not needed now. Amount is not needed now. Amount is constant. Right? So that's we have. So now we can build again. None again. So that is our programs we have done. Now the question can arise is that, sir, can we go for abstract class now? So rather than interface, can we use abstract class? I said fine. Let's see. So here I have this one. I have closing this one, and I'm opening this one. So as an abstract class, I don't have interface now. I have abstract class. Let's see. So this one is okay because abstract class can have the normal variable as well as the static variable, final variable as well. So both is okay. Abstract class can have the body constructor, no problem. Just abstract class. So the methods here, anyone can be an abstract. Otherwise, the abstract class cannot be an abstract, right? So I just make the functions to be abstract. Let's make the function to be abstract. And that's enough to create this class to abstract. This is now abstract class. Okay. When you have abstract class, so that means that all the things has been done, right? So the similar way, we can just define here extends. And here everything fine, so we do not need this one. We can call super, and we do not need this ones as well. We can define amount in there, or also here salaried employee. Okay, I'm writing double amount. You can also take the amount here, and inside the payroll systems, I'm also giving the amount like 8,000. Okay, so that should be my program, and I define in here. So rather than amount, I can call, yeah, amount is fine. I can call amount super.amount, and that's it. So that's the different things we have. You see, that's the different things we have. Okay, what is this? Declared abstract. Earning amount is abstract. Yeah, so abstract. Oh, so okay. So when you have the method inside the abstract class, it should be called as an abstract. It should be called as an abstract. Then it is an abstract method. Okay, so it should be called abstract. Then we are calling this one fine, and then payroll systems test. We're gonna build this one, and we are running this. So now it is working. So that's the things we want. Okay. So see here, when we had the interface, so that times the load we didn't take in the parent load, we are not taking too much load in the parent. Okay, because they will repeatedly call the, we want to like if you see the hierarchy, if you have, let's say, employee, if you have salaried employee, employee, and these have two categories, let's see, from inside and outside, inside and outside, outside, if such kind of outside, let's see, this is my hierarchy. If I have this one, so that times, you see, to create an object of the inside salaried employee, so that's this kind of employee, if we create an object of this one, that means that we have allocating the inside employee. We also need to be allocated the salary employee one, and we also need to be in employee one. So all the instance variable will be allocated in these objects. So that's why I'm telling you that whatever on the top are, so that will be repeatedly used by the other classes as well, other objects as well, other class type objects as well. So we have to be careful to put the things in here. What are the things you are putting in here? You have to consider what is the common in here. So that thing should be here, and most common part should be here. So that's why if you take interface, so let's see salaried employee, and here we have hourly employee, hourly employee, hourly employee. That times you will have the common part of salaried employee and hourly employee will come in here. So the point is that from here we have common things is coming here, and here more common thing is coming here. So that's mean that many things that is in here which are much more generic from the lower parts as well. So lower parts also have, upper parts also have. So much more generic this one. But contents will be reduced, right? So here if we have 1, 2, 3 part common, here will be 1 part common, right? Because these two are different zone, different type of employee. So the common things from here to here and the common things from here to here will be reduced. So the most common things will be in here. So that most common things, and also the employee can provide, like if you have a method which is called earning amount, if you have a method called earning amount, and if you are writing the body, and this one is salary employee is implementing this one, and hourly salary is also implementing this one. So if you are not creating any objects of the employee, then this function, defining this function in the employee is useless, right? Why? Because this function will not call any moment, anytime. Because if you are overriding in here, so this one will be called by the object of this type. This one will be called by the object of this type. This one will be called by the object of this class, by the object of this class. This one will be called by the object of this class. So that's why this one object, if you are not calling, then this one will not be called. So rather than writing the body, it's better to provide the flexibility in there, so that he can also define the body by as like him. He can also define the body to as like him. So they can put a different body according to them. So that is will make much more flexibility, because the common things you may not have. Okay, may not have the common things. So that's why the body declaration sometimes is useless in the main function. So that times we're going to use interfaces, right? So that's I want to show you for today's lab, that how basically the interface is correlated with the abstract method, abstract class, and how the abstract class has been correlated with the interface, or correlated with classes. That's we have seen. Okay. Now I'm going to another program. Let's go for another program and see one more thing I would like to show you. Okay. Let's see this one. File new. Okay, so I have interface. Interface, let's see, A is an interface. I also have an interface. B is an interface. A has a display function, void display. B also has a display function, integer display. Okay. Now A is the display, and we have a class. Let's say class interface. Class interface one, the name itself. Okay. Class interface one, which is our driver class, where we have the public methods, the public static void main. Okay, and this one. Okay. So string. Now see, now I didn't implement any one. I do not have any connectivity with this one and this one. Let's say I want to make connectivity. Without the connections, I cannot take the I cannot take the instances. I cannot take the variables or methods from the interface. So I want to use them. So implements, let's say A, comma B, both. Now, as I have now A comma B, so I have to implement both. And this is overriding, method overriding. You see, void display and integer display. So this one is void method overriding. Okay, let's write this one. Void display VIA. So void display, we are returning void display. There is no return, so void. We are writing void. Then we are inside void. Oh, what happened? Okay, now this one, and we also have like this one, void integer display here at the rate of integer, and here return 0. Now both body we have implemented. So as we implemented both bodies, so there is no problem here. I mean, method display is already defined in the interface one. Interface one is not abstract and does not override abstract method display in B. Let's see. Okay, display in interface one cannot be implemented display in A. So method display is already defined in class interface one. Okay, okay. So let's see, I'm stopping this one. Okay, what will happen? Okay, interface one is abstract, does not override the display. Void display interface. Oh, okay, okay. This is not method overriding, right? So that's why we want to make method override. Let's see, I'm taking in integer A. Integer A. Then it is integer A. Now it is overloading. So we are calling overloading now. Is it okay? Yeah. So display one cannot display A. Display in A. Display in interface one cannot display in A. display in interface 1 cannot implement display integer in B. Why not? Okay, let's go for the same method. Let's go for the same method. Let's see. So I just want to see that I have mentioned that two methods with the same name can also work. But the implementation is that's confusing me. How about the implementation? Let's see this one. The implementation is work or not. Let's go for this one. Let's see. Cannot implement display in A. So void display system.out.println void. So cannot display. So what is the problem here? Okay, this is number one. Number two, I'm just want to show you that as we have mentioned that multiple inheritance is possible, but why possible? We told that okay, same method, so it can be coming, but is it working? Let's see this one. That's the focus. And we have mentioned that about the variable static void a equal 20 static void integer a equal 30. Okay, now let's see. This one is okay. How? Okay, so now we're gonna use, let's see, we want to use here the static. So that's why main is static. So without creating the objects, we can call like system.out.println. We are calling a. See, the same thing happened here as the class we have mentioned, right? The same thing happened here for this one also, like an ambiguity. Although there are multiple inheritance, but the ambiguity is happening here as well. Which A? Is it from A30 or is it from A20? So that's basically happening here also. Like no suitable method found to print a line. Yeah, so that's basically the thing, the ambiguous system, ambiguous. So reference A is ambiguous. So the compiler is confused, and that's the reason we avoid multiple inheritance. But we told that implements because they don't have the body implementations. We are implementing this one. So okay, so variable is not using, right? So that's confirmed. We are now that variable. We can define the variable to interfaces, but we cannot use, so that times the compiler will be confused. If I say this one, then it's okay. I think so. Oh, yeah, let me check. Let me check. Okay, so yeah, so reference to A is ambiguous. That is the error basically. That's we are expecting. That A is ambiguous because which A he will take, so he's basically ambiguous. He cannot take this one. Okay, so let's change anyone. Then it's okay. It's okay. So the spin one. two variable with the two interface, the compiler cannot detect that one. The same as like the class we have, right? Now we can still, we have this one, we are closing, we have this one. Now we are calling same method, void display, and we're gonna implement this one. Same method, we're gonna implement this one. Okay. So now, is it possible? That's what I'm telling you. When we call, so is it possible? Because we didn't implement the body in here. Okay. So let's cannot implement display. Display in interface one cannot implement display in A. So he's telling that this display cannot implement this one. If I will turn off one, so let's see. Interface one, what is the problem in here? Void display. Display in interface one cannot implement display in A. A, B we have, and we have interface one, class, public class interface one, implements A, comma B. So void display, system.out.println. Why? Eh? No, there is a problem in here that if display, I cannot override. They're telling this one. I cannot override. Why? Why not? Because of the name. As we had time, so we are experimenting. That's why. Okay. So system.out.println at the rate of void. Let's see void. I can override. Okay, let's implement A only. Then what is thinking? Okay, so something is wrong in the display. Display. The name is okay. Same. Okay, let's change the name. File, save as CD. CD. Okay. CD. Okay, let's running method and we implement this one. Okay. Okay, so it should be public. More relaxed. That's one. More relaxed. It should be more relaxed, right? So it should be public, right? Okay, so that's why now it is okay. So that's the problem. You see, there's just a very simple problem with, yeah. So this one is just a relaxed one because here is a package that we should have to be same package. I also give the same one, but it's not taking. So we have to be relaxed one, more relaxed one. We have taken this one. Okay, fine. Now we are taking B. Fine. So now we're gonna call, okay. Still the body is okay, fine. Now, so now let's go to call here. Okay, so let's go to create um, objects. So first cd equal new cd, and we have this one, and inside this we are calling cd dot display. Okay, so wait. Now this one is okay because I have closed one. Yeah, now it's okay. Okay, now I'm going to open this one. Okay, let's see now. Ambiguous. Oh, okay, that's very good. No problem. So whatever I teach you, so that's correct, right? So whatever I told you about interface is correct. It's showing the same things in here. That the method, when you are overriding that times, it doesn't matter because if the same name is in there, it doesn't matter because what is the thing is there? The thing is that these two are not defined here. As these two is not defined here, so he's just implementing, no problem. Anyone can be, no problem, right? So but for class, we have to think about that way, right? And also the static one, the variables, I told that, okay, it should not be, because in the static one, there is no two variable on the same name should be declared. But actually they can declare, but they are ambiguous to call when you are calling. So that's the problem occurs here. So whatever we have mentioned in the classes, first class, and that was the correct, that why we implement the multiple inheritance is working. That's basically the proof of multiple inheritance is working. Okay. So yeah. So Ibrahim, is it okay? Do you think it's okay, right? But I want this one to not ambiguous. Or truly speaking, the ambiguous should be there. Yeah, so that should be the ambiguous one. Yeah, ambiguous should be. So now the confusion clear, right? So you ask, someone asked me that how about the variables side? Yes, the variables. Yeah, yesterday. Uh, yes. So you asked me that the variables. I told you that I will show you. I told you that they are static. So as they are static, so it should not be declared to same name variable at the as a static, right? But they can be declared, but they cannot use because of ambiguity in here. So that's the ambiguity. They can declare, they can use because other one can use this one. It's okay, no problem. But the point is that the ambiguity in there because when you are using two implements, so that time the ambiguity is here. And the class which can use 30, no problem. That is not a problem in there. Individually they can use, but when two together, so that times with the variable. But with the method, that problem is not here. That's why the multiple inheritance is possible because the method, when you are coming, so although we have the same name method, but anyone we are calling, okay, anyone we are calling, so no problem. Now I want to see one more thing is that this method and this method will be different by using overloading, right? Integer a. So let's see what will happen now. City is not abstract. So that means that we have to, that's I want. That's I want from the beginning. But why this one is not happening? You see, I have written in here. So now we have display integer a system dot out return 0. So now it should not be any problem in here. But they are creating display integer in CD cannot implement display integer in the public. It should be public. Okay, so that's the things we have. Okay, now reference to A is ambiguous, so close A, close A. CD in abstract is not abstract, does not override abstract method. Display integer in B. Oh, it should be integer. Okay, let's see. Done. So that's I want that overloading should be done with the interfacing as well. So it is basically an overloading, you know. So it's an overloading. So you can call like CD display and you can call CD display A as well. Okay, so that can be defined one to another one. So it will not have any problem. So that's I want. That's I want to show you that if same name also no problems, it's overloading also no problem at all because we can in overloading we can declare two. If same name one is enough to declare. So that's the way basically the interface is working, right? So now any question in here? Now you like any confusion? There is no any confusion, right? Ibrahim or others? Any, just to write here, just to write the same way as like system dot out. Okay, let's see system dot out dot println because it will return, right? So we have to catch the return value, okay? And then yeah, we have this one and just place 3. Display 3, A will go, so return A. Let's see, return A. Return A. Return A. I will return A. So it will go and return A, so 3 should need to be printed. Okay. So is coming. So that way basically we can call different methods. Okay, different methods we can call. And so the point is that the variables are static. That's why I told you in the last class that Ibrahim, did I mention this one, right? I told you that maybe in the both variables will be in the method area, so they cannot be declared maybe at the same name, right? That's I
Sir,
mentioned
you
you,
have
right?
described in the last
Yeah.
class.
So that I mentioned you last class that maybe two will not be declared at the same name, but they can be able to declare because the other class can implement them, then there will be no problem. But when we are implementing them, so that times this one is creating ambiguity. So multiple inheritance for the variables is creating problems. For the function, for the abstract function, is not creating any problem, right? So it's done. So you have now understand how basically the interface is working. Clear? Any question now? No question? So I'm adding this one in here, okay? So that next year I will add a program in here. So I will add some taxes in here so that I will add some taxes regarding this problem, okay? So that people can be confused and see what can be happening. So actually, did you understand? Like Sumaya and others, did you understand that what I have mentioned here, basically, what I want to show here? Last class, Ibrahim told me, asked me that, sir, you told us that the method, if method are same, no problem. How about the variable? If variable are same, what will happen? Then I told Ibrahim that, okay, maybe it is possible or may not be. I was also confused, but at the last I told him that if they are in the same method area, so that's why both variables, static variable, may not be accepted from one class, basically one class. Inside one class, we will not have same static variable, but as there are two interface, so I thought in that way that in the method area, both variable in the same class, so they should not be declared. Okay, but it's possible to declare, but we cannot use by calling their name because ambiguity in there. So ambiguity will be created. That's what Java is avoiding multiple implements for classes. The same things will be happening here. But when you have methods, same name methods, then we find out that, okay, same name methods that I have mentioned before, that same name method will not have any problem. So that's basically will not have any problem in our program implementations. So that times the multiple implementations is working here, multiple inheritance is working, no problem in here. So there will be no ambiguity in here. So because the body is not there, anyone we can take and the body can be done. So that will be an unique. They can think as a unique, okay? Unique method. They will not think two different methods. Okay. Now we can also see that how about method overloading? If we have two methods, so we can implement two methods in there and see that the method overloading, and we can call the methods according to the method overloading features. So that way, basically, it can also work. So that's we have seen today. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now still we have 20 minutes. What we can do? Tell me.
We can practice more.
Yeah. So what we can practice? Tell me if you have question, then I can solve the practice. And you are not asking any questions, so how can I solve? How about let's see year one. What is year one? Yeah, NU1 also I have shown you in the last class. So let's go for this one. NU1, right? Oh, I want to discuss one more thing. Yes, I have a discussion with you. Okay, so interface printable void theme, the same one as the first class, but now you see I can create an abstract class when I am going to implement that one, the printable method, printable interface, and the body, the print is not defined in my body. So then obviously I should have to abstract class. And then inside another one to access this one, so I have to create the body and then I create the object of this one and then call the methods. And that way basically I'm executing the methods as well. Okay, so that's I want to show you that at the first time, but because here is no method, so you cannot feel that through the child class we are accessing the parent class method. So that's why I want to show you with the two variables, two method name, okay, like two method names in the interfaces, and then I show you. Okay, so that's it for today's lab. So I want to talk one more thing is that our exam week is from 25th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Okay. So what do you think? Which time we're gonna take out the exam? Yeah, I think 25 is better. You will have after the exam, you will have time, 26 and 27. So you can just study and then you can start, we can start the Viva from 28, 28, 29, 30, and 31. So all the 4 days will have Viva. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right? So that's what we're gonna do. So 25th, everyone agreed. Every section agreed 25th. So we'll take the exam on 25th. Clear?
So time,
Time, what do you think the time?
sir,
Why?
before it was good. The last time that the timing was really good, sir.
So you want after 6?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We all give exam that day on. It was really good then, sir.
Okay, fine. Fine. We can go to 6:30 or 7. We'll start the exam. Okay. 7 is okay. So I will talk
Yes,
with
sir.
you, then confirm that. Okay. So that's basically we'll learn like next class we'll learn about abstract class and it will finish within 30 to 40 minutes. And then we have now we'll go for some of the uh, then we'll go for generic one. Okay, I will try to search this book about the contents of generic as well. And then we have actually finished the we'll finish the exam topics. So then we'll have a review class and then the next. So we have one more week, like 7 we can finish everything. So we can finish the contents of the exams from exam we can finish within this week. Okay, so next week we'll have time. So next week 4 days. So I'm gonna play with you. I'm gonna work with you in this week. Maybe Java FX I will start. You understand? Java FX or multi-threaded program I can start in here. Okay. Oh, sorry. We have no. We have another chapters. Okay. Exception handling. Oh yes. Exception handling. That's why I'm asking that. Why is the contains exception handling will have. So after finishing abstract class inheritance, we'll go for exception handling. Okay. So exception handling we can start in the next week, and we'll finish that. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir. Then we have exam on most probably 25 March, 7 p.m.
most
Theory
probably
written.
means like 70% confirm. Okay. If I will alive, I will take inshallah 25th.
Inshallah, sir.
Inshallah. Yes. So 25th I will take. So still we have 15 minutes. So 15 minutes I want to pass the time by somehow. Can anyone tell me any kind of observation you have about the classes? Please let me know.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have missed the attendance.
Who is there?
Sir,
Maimundi,
yes, sir.
Maimundi Rani Raj. মেরে হারাড্ডি একটাও থাকবে না কিন্তু বলে দিলাম হ্যাঁ why you miss the attendance so attendance will come to the next class how about others
Okay.
how about other things
Sir, I also missed the attendance, sir.
oh Didar
No, sir, sir, Roxy Rosario.
Oxy Rosario
Yes, sir.
why you are coming late